First question you'll often get asked in an interview for training contract or pupillage is, why do you want to be a solicitor? So
I've always wanted to be a barrister since I can remember. My first proper study of law was at A-level, and I believe that and then I've continued it through to my degree, and I believe that continuing to be a barrister will challenge me throughout my life and keep me forever learning, which is something that I want to do with my career.
I've always wanted a career that demanded a certain amount of intellectual ability and hard work in return for job satisfaction and status in society. Realised since my A-levels that career is as a solicitor, and realised since my degree that only a job with prestigious firm else will do.
Well, it's a good career and it demands money. I don't know. I don't know.
And there's no right or wrong answer to that. But number one, don't waffle. If you're asked it at the start of the interview, they're not asking to hear your answer. Whether it's why do you want to be a legal executive, solicitor or barrister, they're not interested at all in the answer. They're just asking you to relax you. It's just to get you warmed up, and to get them warmed up. If you ever have the pleasure of interviewing, has anyone actually interviewed anyone else for a job? Yeah. Have you found it hard to think of questions after about 10 minutes?
Yeah, very hard.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's really hard. You have to sort of think of your next one all the time.
Because you think of questions that are the same but just differently phrased to get
Yes.
the same answer all the time. I found myself thinking of questions like that and kind of already asked that in a different way.
And fairly often, you ask the question and you're immediately thinking what your next question is going to be. And sometimes they'll catch you out, the person you're asking the question, because they'll give you a short answer and then you've got to think even quicker for the next one. So they ask you why do you want to be a solicitor, just to get themselves going and to get you going at the start. And what you need to do is to first of all answer the question, why? Because often people say, solicitor's a challenging career, I've always wanted to be one since I saw Rainbow Burr on television when I was 8, and it just seems like a good idea, or you want more money. But you've got to give evidence. So the best way of doing it, and to immediately get over that you have work experience, is to say, I've wanted to be a solicitor for a number of years, and that's been justified by my study of a law degree and my work experience in X, Y, Z, A, B, C. I'm working as a paralegal, doing a mini pupillage in these fields of law has made me realise that this is where I want to be. And the person asking you the question will listen, not to the first bit, not interested in that, but they'll hear work experience, because that's what most people who interview are most keen on.
The question I was asked earlier today actually about standing up and discussing the Labour policies of the past year. In hindsight, I should have actually paused for thought and given a much more considered response than actually admitting defeat early and then just sitting down, which is what I did.
Okay, in relation to the question you were asked, I was rather hoping we'd leave this type of question, because this is a particularly technical question that often gets asked by HR.
I thought I would just have a read question that came that I saw first, and that just happened to be the one, so sorry.
Good choice. Basically, there's two types of questions to interviews. Well, there's about 20 types, but the main ones are personal questions, and then there's these, the words go out of my head, what's the word? Competency-based interview questioning. And that's what the HR people do. If you go to a HR interview, you get questions, ask questions like this. If you go to local authorities, they're very good at them as well, which is to not concentrate on anything personal about you. They won't ask you to talk about yourself, they won't ask what you've done in the past, they'll just ask you open questions like this. And there is a technique for answering them, which is up on the board behind where Pete's filming, but you probably won't be able to film it, which is called the STAR technique. Now there's a very good website called interview-skills.co.uk which has in the region of about 200 competency questions, which are pretty much all on that list. It does also give you some written guidance on them as well, and it explains what STAR is. STAR is basically, first of all, if you get asked one of these questions, so this one that James was asked, is describe a situation when you started off thinking that your approach was the best, but needed to alter your course during the implementation. So the first thing you do is you've got to think of the situation, which you did. The situation was, earlier today, you were asked a question about Labour's policy up to 2010. Okay, that's good. That's the first part. The next bit is the task, and that is where you describe your particular involvement in that situation. So your involvement was you were asked the question. So it doesn't really work on that particular incident. But say that you'd been involved in a mountaineering club and you'd gone up a mountain and there'd been an issue where there'd been ice on top and you'd had to make a decision which way to go. So you'd had to alter the course of your actions and change the implementation of your plan because you weren't going up the mountain, you were going around it. Okay? So the situation would be you were going up the mountain and you were going to get to the top. The task that came up was that there was ice on one path that you were planning to go on. The action, which is the next bit, is the decision that you took. The decision was, I decided it was too dangerous to go one way because if we'd gone up there, someone might have fallen off and died. And then the result was, you all got off the mountain safely. Okay? And so if you think of that, in every single one of these types of questions, if you get asked to describe a situation, describe a time when you're part of a team and you have to overcome a particular problem, if you think of it in that way, which you probably won't today, but it is worth practicing this for later times. If you think of it in that way, it makes these questions much easier to answer.